the things that left the key. That crazy. Para me for sure. But para me for sure.
All right, Dr. Shea, can we start? Dr. Shea, over to you. Sorry, we had to give extra 5 minutes to start. Please, I need to confirm, is Fumi Babatunde, is that Fumi Lori? If that's Fumi, can you just chat me up?
That's not Fumi Lori.
Oh, okay. I needed to be sure. Okay, Dr. Baba, Dr. Noyemi Shea, over to you. It's 3:04. Okay, maybe 1 more minute and then we'll start. Thank you. Let's just give a minute. All right. Thank you. Let's keep reminding our people to join. Speakers, please. As many people that can still join, let's ask them to. Also, once share start, now we're going to commence. We are also being live streamed on YouTube. We're going to share the link on this platform. So for those who can't join, yeah, so that's the YouTube platform for them to join us. I think that's quite easier. Okay. All right. Dr. Shea, over to you.
Okay, good day, everyone. I welcome you all to this summit. This is the 2023 Staff Leadership Summit. SAF is Sound Alliance Foundation. My name is Shea Onoemi, and I'll be opening the events for today. I know we have various leaders from all across the world. I'm glad to have each and every one of you here. But quickly, I will try to say a brief history of Sound Alliance Foundation. We've been on for about 9 years, and this event is to commemorate 9th anniversary. In a little way, we've touched lives in our own local space, and we're looking at the possibility of taking it further to international grounds. And we try as much as possible to do what we have to do. And we know that once each and every group, various can touch lives in their own little way, we know the world can be a better place. Today, we have gathered various individuals from all spheres of life. We have young leaders from health, politics, media, education, journalism, name it. I'm sure you can be guaranteed that you have a lot to learn from this discourse. So I won't be the one introducing the speakers. However, I just have to welcome you all, and I would advise that you sit back and take notes and also fully participate in all we have to discuss today. Thank you all for being here. And more importantly, I welcome our speakers. So I will hand it over to DSO, that's Samuel. Over to you, sir.
Hi, everyone. Good morning to you. Good afternoon, whatever part of the continent you are. I'm delighted to be here today to welcome you to the International Leadership Summit of the Sound Alliance Foundation. And as Dr. Sheye earlier introduced in his speech, Sound Alliance Foundation, of course, is a community-based not-for-profit organization that was founded exactly 9 years ago. Basically, we have about 4 thematic areas: work on health, improving access to health, education, promoting equitable, and ensuring that everyone, irrespective of their background, can access health. So we do a lot of advocacy role in that part, both health and education. And we understand that leadership is a very integral part for you to be able to achieve anything. Say everything rises and falls on leadership. So one of the things that we do at SA, one of our very core thematic area is to build leaders, to raise leaders. And that's why we have a leadership summit. The first ever we had was about 6 years ago, when we have the likes of Kunle Shorinyo, Nia Desoya, and the likes came into talk on the subject matter, restructuring the mind, restructuring the nation. We've gone ahead to have other leadership summits also, where we have people like Stephen Akinsoya and others. Okay, so very other also important aspect of what we do at SF is advocacy, where we get to also talk on, reach out to stakeholders on issues that borders on what we advocate for. And last but not least is philanthropy. Okay, we believe that there are people that are in our society who, by means or by happenstance, are not privileged. And one of the things that we do at SF is that we reach out to them, either by providing healthcare for them, by educating them on health matters, encouraging them, advocating that they go to school, and then most importantly, providing some resources for them like food, clothing, making donations. This we have consistently done for 9 years. Tomorrow, actually today, we'll also be visiting a home to make some donations of electronics, provisions, and the things that they need basically. So that's XCF, and I'm privileged to be the founder, and of course, convening and coordinating the activities of the foundation. We believe that if you can empower the youth, basically, you've empowered the nation, and then you can make the difference. Lastly, we also believe that you don't have to have everything before you can make impact. The little that you have really can go a long way to impart the lives of your community. You don't really have to do much. The little by little, we are able to make the world a better place. I have some very, very wonderful people definitely in our midst, speakers, young people that are making impact. I'm sure the moderator, the host is going to introduce them after I'm done, but I really want to appreciate every of our speakers that have made it here today to share on the topic. And you may want to ask why the topic that we have for this team. We all sat down and looked at what is the major issue facing young people today. And we looked at unemployment, we looked at crime, we looked at drugs, we looked at all of those things. And then we saw that, you know, in a bid to escape some of these things, even those who are working have you know, resolved to, you know, jackpotting, if I may use that word, or leaving their country to other places where they get to live their seemingly comfortable life to a life where they become somewhat second-class citizen. All right, so we craft the topic to look at what are the issues, brain drain, the Nigerian youth's perspective on it, okay? What are the challenges? What are those things that are, you know, causing people to want to leave their country to go to other countries to become sometimes second-class citizen? What are the costs, okay? Does it come with any cost? And lastly, most importantly, what are the solutions that we can have to mitigate this brain drain? And we've been able to get wonderful young people that are making exploit in different areas. We have people from educational sector, we have people from health, we have people working with government, we have people working in the media and journalist media space, we have people in the advocacy space, and these people will be sharing with us their world of experience on this subject matter, and most importantly, making recommendations to all relevant stakeholders on how we can get to mitigate this thing. So I'm really, really happy. I'm so much looking forward to this section, and I want to believe that it's going to be a great time for all that will be joining live and those that will get to watch this this recording. Once again, I want to welcome you to SCF at 9 Leadership Summit. I hope that you have a wonderful time. Thank you very much. Over to you, Sheye.
Thank you, coordinator, founder of the Sound Alliance Foundation. You've already let the cat out of the bag. Yes, like he already said, the theme for this summit is the discourse, Nigerian youth and the brain drain phenomenon, the cause, cost, consequences, and way forward. We know it's a multifactorial topic that we are planning to talk about today, but we do hope that we will be able to achieve something and learn something good, or ways to mitigate this problem. Or if it is not even a problem, if it is a blessing in disguise, we are here to know. And that is why we have high caliber individuals amongst us. I'm so excited that we have this collection of speakers that can put us through this discourse. And I'm really looking forward to this. I have my pen and paper. I hope you all do, so that this will actually be beneficial to each and every one of us. I will use this opportunity to recognize the guest speakers, even though their citation will come in later on, but permit me to just recognize those who are here to put us through this discourse for the day. In no particular order, I recognize the presence of the MD of Jadegate Nigerian Limited, Jadesola Lagoke. I hope I got that pronunciation correctly. You're welcome, man. Next, we have Eniton Sophie Oluwa. You're also welcome. She's a development practitioner. We will have full citation, like I said earlier, for these individuals. You'll be amazed as to what the portfolio of our speakers looks like. We have Dr. Tunde Ajayi amongst us. We have Dr. Oritoke Okewu, who's a neuroscientist at FUTA. We have Akintunde Babatunde. We have Ambassador Abiodun Ajayi, a Lagos State PRO. We have Fumi Lori, the founder of iRead Mobile Library. So amongst a few other people that we are expecting to join us. So you are sure that this is really well planned and this is really something we are ready for. So the next agenda we have is to introduce our moderator for the day. We'll be having a panel session for today where we'll have a different moderator. And permit me to read just the citation of our moderator. Dr. Okende, I hope I have your permission to do that.
Please do so. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So the moderator for the day is a Nigerian journalist who is the visionary behind the Scoop Storytelling Initiative, a non-profit digital media platform dedicated to amplifying the voices of the underrepresented in news. Her professional journey include a noteworthy stint at the BBC in Lagos, Nigeria. Her unwavering commitment to social and human rights issues has shaped her career, allowing her to craft compelling narratives that demand widespread attention. Her exceptional contributions to the field of African storytelling have earned her admiration and accolades within the journalism community. In 2021, she received the prestigious International Center for Journalists Michael Elliott Award for Excellence in African Storytelling. Her dedication to empowering women in the media is exemplified by her recognition as a beneficiary of the International Women's Media Foundation's Howard G. Buffett Fund for Women Journalists. She has received commendations from the Wole Soyinka Award for Investigative Journalism and was selected as a Mandela Washington Fellow, sponsored by the US Department of State. Her remarkable achievements have propelled her into the esteemed ranks of the Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth Trust. She has also been recognized as a budget active citizen for her exceptional work with the Scoop. Permit me to welcome Zainab Bala, everyone. Please, as much as you can, a round of applause for Zainab Bala. She will be our moderator for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chair, for that. I'm super pleased and excited to be here to talk about a topic that I think the conversation has been ongoing for God knows what. And I think this is coming really very forward to hear what some of our speakers would say and what recommendations they'll make going forward, just to help us get a sense of what we're doing, where we're going, and how we're going to help tackle, the brain drain phenomenon. Once again, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to having a great conversations with you all. Now, I would like to do a formal introduction of some of the speakers we have here today. In no particular order, I'm going to be starting with Funmi Ilori's profile. She's the founder of I Read Mobile Library, Nigeria's foremost innovative books on wheels for children. She's also the CEO of iRise Model School, a network of affordable nursery and primary blended learning model schools. She holds international psychology and a BSc in urban and regional planning from the University of Lagos. Funmi is an author of children's literature, a prolific storyteller, and a social entrepreneur. Funmi is an alumnus of Clark Atlanta University, USA, a Mandela Washington Fellow, and a President Barack Obama Young Africa Leader. She's also an alumnus of Daystar Leadership Academy. Funmi is the co-founder of MSEE Consults, the mentoring school for early years educators, as well as the vice president of Teachers Empowerment Network. Her organization partners with several international and local organizations to empower school teachers, children, and the library community. Funmi Ilori has received many prestigious awards and recognition since she commenced her innovative mobile library project. She's a mentor to several young leaders. Thank you so much for coming on this summit for me, and I look forward to the great engagement we're going to have together. Next, we're going to have Jadishola Lagoke. forgive me if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Jechela is a certified HSC practitioner and consistent years in HSC administration, operations, training, and consulting. She has a degree in medical microbiology. She's a certified first aider, certified project manager UK, in addition to NEBOSH's qualification in safety and environment. She's a member of the many recognized HSC professional and technical bodies, including IUSH, PECB, amongst others. She's presently the managing director of Jade Gates Nigeria Limited, a one-stop HSC and human resource consulting firm. Thank you so much for coming as well. Next up is Dr. Oritoke Okiowo, who is a passionate educator and neuroscientist whose research is focused on behavioral neuroscience and pharmacology of stress and depression. She's also a mental health and female in STEM advocate. She's currently a lecturer at the Department of Physiology, School of Basic Medical Sciences, Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria. She has won several grants and awards for research and community development. You are also very welcome. So the next person I think has about the shortest, I don't know why Akintunde said this, but Akintunde is Director of Programs at the Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development. We'll be exploring many more from his wealth of experience in the journalism field and innovation as well, which is something we don't get to explore very much often. And so the next person is Olua Eniton Sophie. Sophie is a 2023 Rotary International Positive Peace Activator, a 2022 MasterCard Foundation Young Impact Associate. Eniton is an astute volunteer with over a decade of experience with nonprofit organizations focused on assisting the needy, especially youth development, peer education, and mentoring vulnerable children, girls, and people with disabilities. A Google and Lagos Business School certified digital business manager. Anita is a graduate of English with a special interest in literature. Anita is a youth champion for the SDG Sustainable Development Goals with a special interest in goals 1, 3, 5, 10, and 17. She's also passionate about adolescent reproductive health and gender rights. Anita studied law as a second degree to complement her advocacy for issues relating to sustainable development, human rights, and social well-being. As an associate member of the Institute of Chartered Mediators and Conciliators, Anita founded www.natini.org, Natini Empowerment for Sustainable Impact Initiative, a nonprofit organization providing empowerment and development services through advocacy for sexual reproductive health, gender, and disability rights. I also welcome Anita. So the next person is Dr. Babatunde Ajayi. He's the former special assistant to the Commissioner of Health, Lagos. He's an astute and result-driven public health physician with extensive experience and training in primary health care delivery, occupational health and safety, emergency medicine, epidemiology, and research. As a health systems efficiency expert, he had led the oxygen strategy for Lagos State during the COVID-19 pandemic, where he managed the production, supply, distribution, and end-user availability of oxygen at the isolation centers. He's a public health fellow of Erasmus Mundus. Dr. Babatunde Ajayi obtained his Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery degree from the Lagos State University before proceeding to the Catholic University of Leuven, Belgium, where he obtained a master's in public health and subsequently a master's in business administration at Warwick Business School. Dr. Babatunde Ajayi is a highly analytical and adventurous mind known for adding value to systems and organizations with a scalable vision of making a revolutionary global impact. Well, we have quite a wealth of experiences here today, and without wasting much of our time, let's move straight to it. And I'm going to start with Fumi Lori. Fumi, can you please turn your video on? It'd be great to see your face as you talk about this very, very important topic. Hello, Fumi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, please can you put your video on, please? Please, let's all have our videos on. Okay, I think before Fumi puts her video on, let me move quickly to Jade Shola Lagoke. My question starts with you, Jade. You are HSE practitioner and consistent years in administration, operations training, and consulting. And so my question to you is, in your area, what are some of the trends you have seen over the years, talking about brain drain, and how has this, affected the development of your sector?
Thank you very much, Zainab. Can you hear me clearly? I want to be
Yes,
sure
I
of that.
can hear you. Yes,
Okay.
perfect.
To be honest, the JAPA syndrome is something to be really, really worried about. We have, the HSC community is really, really, really small. Let me say that Nigeria for now. We're just trying to grow the industry and try to put a lot of things in place, because definitely in Nigeria, we don't have occupational health as a course of study. So most people go into, trying to get professional courses to become a certified HSC practitioner. And I could tell you right now in Nigeria, okay, Lagos as a whole, we can say about 30% of our persons have left the country just because they are appreciated more outside the country. Safety is something that, we are still trying to bring into the know for people in Nigeria. People are not really accepting safety as it is. But over there outside the developed countries, we have a lot of people that believe so much in safety, and safety is priority. So I must say the illusion of the JAPA syndrome, because I think it's an illusion for a lot of people. The expectations are very high, but when they get there, it's a whole different situation. It's something that we definitely need to look into. And it is really, really affecting and eating into our economy as well. Because one of the strengths of Nigerians, or would I say Nigeria, is the population that we have here. And so if we have all our talents leaving the country, personally, I am a victim of JAPA because I don't have a single friend in Nigeria. Unfortunately, I decided to stay back but definitely over time, you get to look into that industry and see that, yes, it has affected us massively.
Okay, and so why did you decide to stay?
Okay, for me, I've always been okay. Personally, I have two sisters that have actually left us in Nigeria. Everything I own is in Nigeria. Everything I've worked for, I built a business from scratch in Nigeria. And I can tell you, as bad as the economy is, as bad as the fuel prices, as my business is thriving in Nigeria. So I think people are not just looking out for potentials. And at the same time, we need to also build a value-oriented systems. Nigeria believes so much in making money, convenience, but people are not looking out to actually add value. If you look at that part of business, would I say, definitely you will strive and you will do very well. And I am a testimony to that. Nigeria is working. I know a lot of people don't believe, but for me, Nigeria is working for me. So I know a lot of Nigerians too, it can work for them, but we just need to put it right. We have government issues, we have different policies that keep eating into our economy, our business, but still you can always find a way around it. There are also options. There are always options to everything. And if you also see that the potential of Nigerians are very hardworking, we are dogged, we are resilient. Nigerians believe so much in perseverance. And this is a strength that definitely we should not throw out to the developed world.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jade. I think I'll come back to you a bit later. Let me move on to Dr. Itoke. Dr. Itoke, I think neuroscience is something really, really very interesting. Is an area that is very, very interesting, and we do not have a lot of people working in that area. And so I would like to hear about your peculiar story and what are some of the trends you've noticed in your sector, particularly when it has to do with people leaving the country.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Zainab, for the question. Okay, yes, we can say, in neuroscience, we do not have a lot of people, but I would say that I think we have a lot more people right now, especially the undergraduates. Yes, we had a conference about 2 months, last month. Yeah, we're at the end of this month, last month, August, at Babcock, and the turnout which was the Nigerian Society for Neuroscience, and the turnout was really massive. And although we have a lot of undergraduate and master's students, but then I think we're getting there. So I really would say that in my sector, both I'm going to talk as a neuroscientist and then as a university lecturer. Because in the university, yes, we have different departments and different courses. And of course, the recent development is that we have a lot of people running out of the country, to the developed world. I think Dr. Fumi has rightly said, and you have also mentioned, the Japa syndrome is everywhere. Everyone wants to run elsewhere. And of course, the main thing that I've constantly heard from people is the appreciation, like I'm not being valued for what I offer. And I wouldn't lie, I also feel the same way, because I was still complaining of recent, saying, oh my God, my cadre at the university doesn't really project who I am. When people that know me on the outside will be like, oh, I believe that you're this. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, that's not where I really belong at the moment, or that's not the cadre that I am standing at the moment in my university. So of course, everybody wants to be valued for what they offer. So everyone really wants to be appreciated, know that this is me and you value what I'm bringing to the table. But at the same time, when people, what also strikes me is that I have seen this same set of people who wants the value, who are asking for the value. And this is not me pointing fingers at anyone. I'm just putting out my opinion on what I have seen over time. The same kind of work ethics that they put out when they get to US, to London, to anywhere. The time they get to the lab, the time they leave the lab, the commitment they do, the amount of energy and time that they put to reading and putting things on the table, it's not the same that they want to put when they're in Nigeria. Many a times they want to relax, they want to have fun, and at the same time get a lot of money and a lot of appreciation. I'm not saying that the country is at best. I know that the country and the government can do better, but I'm also saying that the same kind of energy that we get to put out when we get there, are we putting the same thing here? The kind of hope that we have, I know it's not the same, but at the same time, if we can put that, because all of these things most times starts from the mind. I'm a neuroscientist and I know that most of these things, moving into psychology, it starts from our minds. Yes, we have to be resilient. The kind of resilience that the foreigners see in us that makes them give you the job, that same resilience, can we put it here and wait and hope? Because most of the time, when people are outside of the country, what they offer them for the same job, it's also small, but they take it and say, I will push up and I will get there in another man's country. Can we do the same here? So I think we're also experiencing the same in my field, in my environment. But like I would say, I know that we're still going to get there. It's already causing so much damage in the university system. I would really say that a lot of us are going through, there is a challenge we're actually battling in my faculty at the moment, which of course, it's going to hurt me. It's going to eat me in another few months on another few years to come. But I would say that it is also the backlash from this running out, the Japa syndrome. It's really coming back to it. It's eating our students. It's eating the university environment. It's even eating into the grants that we have, the little grants that we have available. For example, our colleagues would get this grant and never come back. But this is grant from Nigeria. You go out there and you never come back. I know it's not easy. I know we want to be appreciated, but all of these also have their own, negative effect, how they get back. So it's beyond you, the other colleagues that you leave behind, and then the new generation to come up to. So it's not really a win-win situation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Oritoke. Quickly now, so we can have all the rounds, and then at the end of the day, find a way to kind of profile a way forward. We'll just do this very, very briefly. I'll move quickly now to Akintunde Babatunde, who is the Director of Programs at the Center for Journalism Innovation and Development. He's also my colleague in the journalism field, and I'm excited to hear about this area because when you talk about JACPA, most of the time you hear doctors, nurses, and many other fields, but it's not really a topic that we've delved into, in journalism. And so would like to hear from him. What are the trends, in the journalism development sector? Hello,
Hey,
Akintunde.
Zainab, can you hear me?
Hi.
Yeah.
It's
Hello,
good to see
everyone.
you.
Yeah, it's good to be here. And
Yeah.
I think that I won't belabor the point that esteemed colleagues have made. But I think I will come from I don't like that word, JAPA. I use it a lot. I don't like it. And I also personally have a thing against the popular understanding of JAPA. I say this, a little bit of background. I say this as someone who has been here, done that, been there, done that. Yeah. I don't know if I am qualified to be called someone who has jackpot or someone who hasn't, but I'd like to say that within Nigeria, the country of about 215 million people estimatedly, we have about 3.1 million people who have jackpot from where they were born without them liking it. So they jackpot within Nigeria. And I want to say the IDPs, internally displaced persons. So because JAPA is used for migration. So you see people who say, hey, where we are is not the best of place for us, it's not in the best of situation, and we want to move, right? In the UK last year, about 59,000 Nigerians were granted UK student visa. About 59,000. And in the first quarter of 2023, the UK has granted about 132,000, student visas. You notice a full year, 12 months, 59,000 people. Then a few years, if the first 3 months, 132,000 student visas. Do we call those JACPA people? I don't think so. Another context, we have about 133 million Nigerians who are multidimensionally poor. And what that means, if you are multidimensionally poor, so you're not just poor from the place of you can't afford $1 a day. It means that you cannot just afford $1 a day, you also don't have access to basic things and your household. So these are grants where people think, oh no, they need to leave the country. In the media space, there's been JACPA within the industry where you have a local newspaper, a local media organization get to pay you stipend or what they call salary. And you get to see an international media platform operating in Nigeria, then hire your people from within Nigeria. So they don't get people to leave, but you leave a local newspaper for an international platform operating in Nigeria. And because of exchange rate fluctuation, what an international platform will probably pay an intern, in their country, in the UK or in the US, let's say they pay interns $1,000, which is actually almost impossible. You probably get to pay more than that. And so if you're paying an intern $1,000 in the US, and you want to pay $1,000 to someone who's an editor somewhere, and I mean, if you convert to Naira in today's, in Emefiele's Naira, or that's about 1,000 Naira, about 1 million Naira, which is pretty much, I just say, more, a big deal in the Nigerian reality, right? So that level of japa within the industry, pretty much, I would say intra japa. Now talk about the bigger dimension, where people can say, oh, I'm going to pack my bag. And I say this as someone who live from airport to airport. I literally just don't have a life. Like, I literally just take my box from here and all that. So, I mean, I say this as someone who, every time I'm like, I get to the worst of, to the remotest of countries in the world. There was one day I was somewhere and I was like, God, I'm hungry. I'm famished. I need to eat something. And a friend said, oh, no, let's go. There is a Nigerian place where you can eat jollof. I was like, wait, there's a Nigerian restaurant in this country. I said, and I got there. And this is funny. This happened in May. This was funny because I got there. It was in a corner. The shop was very small. And I heard someone say, and I was like, what? You said they here. So you get to see Nigerians everywhere. So that tells you that, it happens. But is it a good thing? It's not a good thing. I don't like japa from the prism of saying, you know what? I'm leaving everything all, then I'm going to leave Nigeria. I don't like it from that sense. I've seen people say, there was a video last year where someone who was working in a bank, I think a bank manager or something, was captured on video being a care worker in the UK, and people started saying, oh no, da. And there is this annoying comparison that people bring on board. They would say, oh, I just got to the UK, what I earn in a month, what I earn in a day is more than my 1 month's salary. Come on, that thing is intellectual dishonesty. It is intellectual dishonesty. I stayed in the UK for 2 years. My house rent was £620. But it was because I was on scholarship. And there was no way on earth I'm going to pay, at the time it was about 450,000 Naira, now it's about 700,000 when you convert to Naira. There was no way on earth I'm going to pay 450,000 per month for a room where we share bathroom and we're 5 in the flat. No way I would pay that in Nigeria. So there is this illusion that when you are abroad, the best of life. Don't get me wrong. It is not the worst of life, but it is the money you get, you earn, you also almost after the next 1 minute when you receive the money, you almost have to pay bills. You pay water bill, you pay internet bill, you pay parking bill, you pay every other bill. So this very popular situation on Twitter where people share and say, oh, there are 1,000 jobs. You know what? These jobs are casual jobs. You don't get to mislead people about how the best of life is there. Don't get me wrong. I'm someone who has been everywhere. And I'm saying that the popular narrative that I must acknowledge, Nigeria is difficult. I say this as someone who, when I returned to Nigeria,
time.
I'm just gonna wrap up. Apologize. Sorry. So I'm just gonna wrap. I mean, I feel embarrassed that everybody has spoken and I'm the only one who you have to cut. Sorry, I talk a lot, but I was gonna say that I admit that it's difficult to get the simplest of things done in Nigeria. When I returned to Nigeria last year, and I wanted to get my SIM card retrieved, it took me about 11 weeks because they said I needed to link it to my NIN. And I was like, why on earth would I get my Nigerian SIM card for 11 weeks. And I have to go to MTN headquarters in Maitama more than 3 times. Where by the time you go apply for your UK visa, they give you, SIM card for free. So I get to say that because the basics of things becomes difficult in Nigeria, so people get to leave, but it is not as exciting. It is not as easy as we get to portray it. So the media industry is in the wave of that. People leave, leave local platforms for international platforms operating in Nigeria. Now you get people now leave, abroad, not necessarily to practice journalism, but mostly to study. So that is happening now within the media space. And I will yield the mic and apologize for taking so much time.
That's okay, Akintunde. Now let's quickly move to Olua Enitan Sophie. Hello, Sophie. I don't know if you can hear or see. Can we see you? Hello, Sophie. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you. Good morning.
Hello, Sophie. It's good to see you.
Hear me here. Good morning, everybody.
So can we hear about some of the trends in your sector?
Okay, thank you so much. And then I would like to say well done to the area of speakers. For me, I work as a development practitioner. Most of my experiences has come from volunteering, and I'm very passionate about reproductive health. It's just been about letting people have access to the information they need. Sometimes it's not really in the doctor, because when we're going about the technical things, people are a bit skeptical or they are scared. For instance, you want to talk about cervical cancer, and then you're looking at it as a very big thing when prevention can help you sort it and all. And I can tell you that most of the things people complain about that we don't have access to in this country, it is because somebody is not doing what somebody should do because somebody thinks somebody else would do it. At the end of the day, nobody does it. So if we can all just look at it from our angle to say, what role am I playing in this scheme of things? I'm tempted to agree with the speakers who have told us that a lot of people leave this country and then we say, Japa. But the kind of ethics that people have when they leave this country is not the same thing we put up in the country. And that to an extent is affecting what we are doing. I look at it from the angle of volunteering. It's obvious that in the development space, a lot of people are just trying to look for opportunity. I don't blame them though, because the truth is survival first. We are trying to survive. But then again, if you're doing what you're passionate about, if you are delaying gratification, let me use that word, because it seems like people probably just have some targets. See, our lecturer was telling us of how most grants are no longer coming in because people will get this grant. You're supposed to go there for research. You are not honoring the pacts that you signed. Supposed to go there for research, come back and then create impact. But before you know what's happening, people use it as a leeway to japa. So for me, what you have most times in this trend is you do not see people who are really passionate about what they say they do. And passion will take you a lot further than you think it would. Passion will take you because you are coming from that place of empathy. Okay, I advocate for reproductive health because I have a personal story on that. I currently manage endometriosis and I also manage glaucoma. I feel like my situation would have been better if I had information and access to healthcare on time. I am now low vision, like my vision is really low. I can barely see. And in my head, every day I wake up thinking of how I could just wake up and then possibly, I don't mean to be a pessimistic person, but I could just wake up one day and lose my sight because I did not have access to this information on time. So my own goal is no other young person should go through what I went through with period poverty, with my menstruation problems. No other young person should go through delayed diagnosis with their glasses and every other thing that they need, every information they need, particularly when it is genetic. So how do you come in? How do you feel? And you will discover that this jackpot thing we're talking about, it is easier when you are passionate because you will always attract the good part of it. I'm happy that here we have a lot of Mandela Washington fellows. You guys have gone, you guys are back. And you can see the difference. It's embarrassing most times when you see our people go there and they're ready to do anything and everything to survive. I'll share a story with you. I'm currently in the law school. I took a second degree in law. My plan was to go abroad to take the degree in law. But when I looked at this, I'm self-sponsored, by the way, and I needed my law for advocacy to help me know the legal aspect of what I can do and how I can do it. So by the time I looked at it, if I go, I will still have to come back to Nigeria for law school. I'll still have to come back. And I looked at the cost of it. Man, where am I going to get all those pounds to go to school? I'm self-sponsored. Nobody's going to pay. So it's not something you can get. But here in Nigeria, it's a bit easier. I could work and study. Nobody's chasing me for 20 hours. I can choose to defer my admission. I mean, I had to do that while I was struggling with my endometriosis diagnosis and all. I had to defer my admission while I was doing other things. I could work even while in school. You do not get all these luxuries. But what are you doing to change your narrative? Volunteer as much as you can, build up your CV. If you even build up your CV from this part of the world, you could get much more opportunities than you think. You could get so much more opportunities that will change your life, as opposed to going there. By the time you see some of the, well, they don't get to show us all the videos of the reality. They don't really show us the entire video. Somebody is staying in one shared room apartment somewhere in the corner of Peckham, and the person is telling you that you are living in Lekki, or you're even living on the mainland in Ikeja, that, oh, you are suffering. I get it, the system works there. But the question I want to ask every young person here is, what are you doing in your little corner to make the system work for the next person? I use Loot. I come to Loot. I see how sometimes you get frustrated by the entire service there. Somebody's supposed to attend to you. They're telling you that, oh no, I need to do this first. Yes, there's a lot of strain on our doctors. There's a lot of strain on our medical practitioners and all. I'm not going to say that they should not live their life, or I'm not going to be unfair to them because I work with these people, so I understand. But I'm also saying that if we can play our part in the scheme of things, we are like the missing puzzle in this thing. Life will be a bit better for us, because we still go there and then still talk about racism. We talk about how we cannot get opportunities that are meant for certain people. The amount the average Nigerian will pay for education over there, you cannot compare it to what you're going to get here. Yes, you want to tell me about values, you want to tell me about how you get more quality, but if we have lecturers and people that are doing all this amazing work like you and I here, stay back, or at least just pay back in your little way and mentor more people, I think it would be way better than having to lose the best of our hands. You're going back there. Or will I just talk about illegal migration now? Because part of the work we do in our advocacy space, I've had to intervene, or maybe say mediate with people that did illegal migration, and then you had to start paying to get them back from Libya, from other countries, even Egypt. And you're asking yourself, these people left everything they were doing in Nigeria. They sold out their entire lives, their business, only to fall victim of illegal migration, and then they are now trapped. To me, it's like going from fire pan to fire. So while it is good to migrate, to do whatever you want to do, make sure you get your acts right. Build up yourself while you are here. It is easier when you have built up everything you are learning here. Then you move over there. Yes, you could just be an expatriate, go and come back, but we should always remember home, because it looks like we have now turned this place to the burial ground where when you have used the best of your years, you are coming back here. Not everybody can japa, not everybody will japa. Even when you are not in the country, you have cousins, you have family members who are here. And if this place is not safe, then I mean, I appreciate the work people like Fumi Lori, they're doing about making sure everybody reads. We can't move about Lagos because of lack of education and a lot of other things. So I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so I'll get right back to you on the way forward to that. Samuel, I'll come back to you later, but I'm going to take Dr. Babatunde on this. We've spoken so much about what is not working, what the government is doing that is not working for us, as young Nigerians, policies that are not really favorable to us, as a people. And so I'd like Dr. Babatunde to talk from the health policy and government aspect, when we talk about, brain drain. Is Dr. Babatunde here? Dr. Babatunde, can we have your video on, please?
I think he's having some difficulties, so maybe we move to the next
I think you can just go ahead, Samuel, to talk about brain drain in the health sector generally.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again. Like we just see that brain drain is not just a phenomenon restricted to the health sector alone. We have in the educational sector, in other sector, like other speakers have spoken. But then what makes health sector very important is because it deals directly with the health. And without health, you really can't be productive. And of course, your productivity determines the fate of the nation. So health is really, really critical to any sustainable development of any nation. The healthcare workers, of course, we always say are the essential, are part of the essential workforce of any nation. Okay, so of course, one of the worst hits when it comes to brain drain or the jackpot we're talking about is, or we'll say, is the health sector. I just typed on my phone. I was like, okay, let me have the statistics. I want to say that Nigeria really is not huge on statistics, but just typing brain drain, what popped up is number one, that 2,000 doctors left Nigeria in 2020, just last year. We have 2,000 doctors. And then they say every week, NME, that Nigeria Medical Association, says 50 doctors leave Nigeria weekly. That is really alarming. Why is it alarming and why is it disturbing? Because WHO says 1 doctor to 600 people, all right? In Nigeria, we're a population of about over 200 million. And currently, in the MDCN register, we have more than close to 80-something thousand doctors. But of those doctors, we have currently about 24 to 30,000, even less than, because of course, last year alone, over 2,000 resident doctors left the country. Now, every day people leave. What is the impact of that? Nigerian health indices is actually very, very one of the worst in the world, all right? And if doctors, if their critical health workforce mass are leaving, and that's a big issue for us, not just doctors, I want to say that even more nurses, are leaving, more nurses. There's a research that came out and then it was asked the intention to leave, intention to jackpot, and you'll be shocked that of those that are still remaining in Nigeria, about 80% of health workforce, or doctors, nurses, physiotherapists, and the pharmacists, about 80% of people showed the intention to migrate when given the opportunity. For me, that is indeed alarming. That is a big issue and something that the government would need to look on and try to fix. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. I forgot Fumi. At first I called her out, but we couldn't hear her speak. I think she's back on now. Fumi, can you kindly put on your video, please?
Yes, I'm on.
Hello, Fumi.
Yes. Hello, Zainab. Thank you.
Hi. So could you quickly talk to us about some of the trends, in the education sector, since that's the sector that you work in?
Okay, so in the education sector, we find out that most of the graduates that would leave school are not getting job opportunities. And so when they cannot even stay in their own sector, they move into education because that looks like the ready market. We have a lot of private schools that are willing to take them on, starting from SSC holders to NC holders, and then B.Ed and BSc. You find BSc, zoology, chemical engineering. I've even seen a medical doctor, coming to teach. And that's because the education space just gives room for a lot of people. But what we find out is the education sector is not well funded, and we can't even give teachers the right remuneration. You have teachers earn as little as 30,000 naira. 30,000 naira in a month means 1,000 naira per day. And you would think that what would they do with that? But I run a school, and I call it a low income school, but in my community, it is a rich income school because of the space that I work in. And parents would say that, oh, your school fees is too expensive. Why would you charge us 30,000 per term? 30,000 per term is 3 months. And there are other schools that charge 12,000, 15,000. You see, so when you see all of that and the strain that teachers go through, when they see opportunities abroad, opportunities to say, come and teach. I was in the UK last year, and somebody just said, for me, please, if you can help me source for teachers, I need teachers here. and I would give them that job opportunity. They can come over. It would be wicked of me not to give that opportunity to a teacher here that is struggling at 30,000. Now, what is happening is I put out a notice about 2 weeks ago requesting for teachers. And I said, oh, we need teachers in our school. We also have opportunity for virtual teachers. And people were just bombarding me. Oh, please, can I be a virtual educator? Can I be a virtual educator? Not many of them would even know what that means. Maybe not, they don't know all of what it means, but they know that there are opportunities. So it means they can still keep their regular jobs and then train a child abroad, whether in Nigeria or abroad, and that child would learn. And they're paying you in rich currencies, as little as $50, but the $50 is 50,000 because you're giving a child remedial. So on one hand, we want teachers to be well remunerated. We don't want them to leave the country, because when teachers and educators that are supposed to be researching and providing quality education are not here to provide it, the children will suffer, and these children are going to return to become our leaders. Despite that, we still want them to have more opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fumi. That was quite insightful, and I could connect with what you were saying, because my mom is a teacher, and I could see, that push and that to always say, we this is what we do, this is our life, but we are not being remunerated at the end of the day. And this is what pushes people to want to say, if I find other opportunities out there, I'm going to leave. Please, our speakers, can we all have our videos on? We've spoken about the issues, the causes, what is going wrong in some of our sectors, and now we would like to go into what should be done. What should we do? What should government do? What structures should be put in place, to help at least curtail the brain drain that we're seeing in various sectors in our country. And so I think I'll start with Jade. Jade, let's quickly hear from you before we take questions. What should be done? What is the way forward, in curtailing the brain drain that we're seeing in the sectors in Nigeria? Jade?
So can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I must say I have read and I've learned a lot from everything everyone has said generally. But for me, in my own opinion, yes, we have economical issues. Government policies are not so good. Nigeria, but everyone has a part to play, not just only government. Like I think it was Oritoke that said earlier that the work ethics for everyone. I think we also need to change our mentality as Nigerians. Like I said, the old Japa syndrome generally is an illusion, because I have family members that live in the UK, I have people that live in Canada, and people work. So you work for that, what you want to earn. And definitely it's the same situation back here in Nigeria. You don't want to work, but you want to earn. So I think for me, in my own opinion, everyone has a part to play. And also, if we look out for value, like I said earlier too, is something that actually can play a major role for us, if I got your question right.
Okay, thank you so much, Jade. So I would like to ask, is it really bad for people to say that they want to leave, or are there benefits to it at the end of the day?
Oh, no, it's not bad. Like someone said too, Nigerians, some people go for study, not just only to migrate, though we have a lot of people that want to leave illegally, that, they decide to go for study, but they still want to stay back in the UK or in the US, But you should be sure of why you want to leave. When I was listening to people earlier, I asked one, why do you want to Japa? They should be, is it because, oh, the country, everybody says the country is bad? Because for someone earning, I had a story of a senior brother that was earning, he works with a very known oil and gas firm, and he was earning about 4.5 million monthly in Nigeria. And at that time, he had a convenient lifestyle. He had a home for himself. His family was doing well. He had kids that were doing very well. But he actually left the country with his family because he says everybody is leaving. That was his own reason for leaving the country. Not because, oh, maybe the security issues or it's difficult for me. He said everybody's leaving, so he has to leave. So you must have cogent reasons to why you want to leave. Do I want to, for career development, or I want to leave because I am sure that the economy is so bad and it's going to be better there. But I can tell you that same person I'm talking about is struggling with the Canada economy right now. It's very difficult for him because he has worked with the oil and gas firm for about 20 years, going back to start again with casual jobs. Now he works as a supervisor in some store. So he can't live to the reality of the Japa syndrome, but he can't come back home because he sold everything back in Nigeria just because everybody's leaving. So we need to be extremely sure before we take these decisions. Yes, they have better systems than we do. They don't have the yellow and black buses. Everything seems good. You could take some nice pictures for yourself when you are there and everybody feels you are good, in Peckham, there's lifestyle of, the Lagos Island lifestyle. You could feel a little bit of home as well. But honestly, are you sure that gives you fulfillment? Because like I said, money is not so difficult to get in Nigeria. From the business angle, I don't want to go deep into business, but Nigeria has the way it plays business. Money is not so difficult to get in Nigeria, but the issue is, are you fulfilling purpose? Which is one of the questions I ask a lot of people. Are you happy doing what you're doing? Are you sure that this particular lifestyle or the career you've taken through would outlive you? You could leave it and say, oh yes, I'll live through this legacy and I'm doing very well. You should be sure of that before taking such decision. Or do I want to travel to the UK because everybody's going to the UK? Or do I want to go to Canada because that seems to give me a second, residence? I'm now, I have I own 2 citizenship in 2 different countries, and my children can live through that. Safety, like in the US, they don't film these things. It's not in their media, but people die every day in Texas. There's gunpowder there. There's also security issues just the same way as our Boko Haram. So, but these things are not filmed, just the little we have here. But I can tell you, there's no place like Nigeria. You like it or not, there is no place like Nigeria. I am unapologetic Nigerian.
I think I like that statement. There's no place
I'm an unapologetic
Nigeria.
Nigerian.
There's no place like home. Thank you so
like
much,
home.
Jade. That makes me so very happy. Apparently, Fumi has another meeting she's joining, and so let's quickly hear from her own perspective, and then we'll move to Dr. Babatunde, who is back online now. So quickly, Fumi, can we hear what do you think is bad for teachers to say they want to leave, and what do you think, what architecture do you think needs to be in place for them to actually stay?
Okay, so there are many things that need to be in place, and I would use myself as an example. I have all my siblings in Canada, and they're still shocked why I have decided to stay back. I run a business, I run a mobile library for children, and it's not doing the dream that I want impact, and I'm excited at it. So, but then you find out that for the education space, there needs to be more that competition in terms of payment for educators, people that are making things happen for all the sectors. We've got opportunities in the UK, in the US. I traveled for my vacation. I went for 5 weeks in the US. Are you really going to come back? Come back to what? And you see, when I returned, my school was parents want to remove their children. It's too expensive. And you know that you put in so much effort into making sure my school is a tech school for the children. So we try to just make it innovative. That's why we have it as the I brand. And so with all of that, but people around cannot afford it. They cannot afford the 30,000 or 40,000 that we're asking them to pay. I tell my teachers they earn between 30 and 60,000, in that range. And I told them, I said, when I was leaving teaching, I was earning 90,000. But the environment that we are in, because of what we make, you cannot even pay them above that minimum wage. And so when they decide to go, I wouldn't say that is wrong. I wouldn't go, I wouldn't go yet, but it's a big struggle. My organization is going to be 10 years on Tuesday, 10 years, and you really cannot say that you've made enough profits to build or to rebuy or to reinvest. But what the joy with what it is that I do is the impact that we're making. And we all cannot go. But my siblings will tell me, you know what, you want to build a legacy, move to Canada. Your legacy will be louder in Nigeria. So you just come your legacy, that legacy you want to build, but stop struggling. So we have a lot of people encouraging us, leave. This is a better environment for your children, especially, that's the tagline. So when you leave, you build, you create a better future for the children. But I'm saying that the children here, who is going to build that better future for them? So our government needs to step up the game, provide opportunity, provide infrastructure. Teachers don't even have resources, both in the public and the private space. The resources, even the monitoring, you cannot say that, teachers have been trained and this is the minimum standard that they can give. So you find schools that are 10,000 naira. In fact, even 100,000 is a low-income school. So even with 100,000, how do you pay the teachers? What is it that they're offering? You see? So, but all of this together, I think for those of us that are still here, let's put in our best. For those of us that are still here, let's go volunteer, especially in school. When you see a school that is struggling and you have an expertise in that area, please go over there. Do something for them. You are the one making that difference while you're here. And if you are there too, there's nothing wrong. There's no guilt about that. The greener pastures is a lot of struggle. I've seen it in the UK, in the US. It's a lot of struggle. But who says people don't also do extremely well when they travel? But you see, it's a saner society. Saner in the sense that you want to go to the hospital, you can get to the hospital. Not that someone has strangled you, you cannot get medical care because you don't have a police report, and people die in that process. When you think about all that, my dear, Japa is the next thing. Thank you.
Oh my God. Thank you so much. For me, that was really, really very insightful. I think almost virtually all of us here mentioned the government, and we need somebody from the government. Dr. Babatunde, I'm made to know that he's back with us online. But Dr. Babatunde, please, can you put your video on? Is Dr. Babatunde here with us? Hello, Dr. Babatunde.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Hello, Dr. Babatunde. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. Apologies, I'm hosting a community meeting in my house, and it wasn't, and I'm so sorry. So I've had to be shuttling, and you might hear one or two arguments in the background. Is all these old people.
That's fine. So just briefly from the government angle, policy, and what is it that the government is doing, to help curtail this, and what is it that they are not doing right, and what should be done going forward?
Okay. So first, I think that the government is mainly responding to what is happening. And then generally, government all over the world do not innovate. Governments always respond to innovate and follow, try to catch up with what innovation is trying to do. Now, innovation in the sense that the pace of people leaving Nigeria now is quite alarming. I mean, and it is affecting the middle cadre of the workforce across all industries. So in banking, for instance, many people in banks, middle grade are out or they're leaving. In healthcare, where I practice and play, we have a 40% attrition rate after 2 years. So if you employ 1,000 doctors today, in 2 years' time, when you're supposed to confirm their employment, 400 of them would have left. That's quite significant a number, and it's unprecedented. It never used to happen like this. So in the health space, what government has done is to mitigate these things by making it more comfortable for doctors to work in Lagos. For instance, there are health facilities that now have accommodation for doctors. We try to increase salaries. We have increased salaries, in fact, twice. Unfortunately, inflation always makes it a joke. There are a couple other incentives, like when you train in the Health Service Commission in Lagos, for instance, you can switch back to the workforce without having to go through another interview and another process. So there are soft landings and kinds of incentives that government has given. However, these incentives do not seem to work enough. I think that over time, people will by themselves realize where they would like to play and profit, or the kinds of things that would work best for them. So for me, I always push that government should do more. And I know that governments, in Lagos at the very least, is doing more. I know that the federal government is even doing much more. If we have a lot of people leaving, government will also try to innovate. We try to catch up with the pace and then do everything possible to retain people. Thank you very much.
That was brief and very, very, very insightful. And thank you so much for your thoughts on this.
Thank you.
So Dr. Itoke, let me get back to you. So in your sector now, you've spoken earlier about how, lecturers, are leaving the country and seeking, greener pastures elsewhere. Do you think it's really bad for them to say they want to leave? And what should the government or private sector, put in place to help curtail this at the end of the day? Is Dr. Itoke here? Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. So I would say that just like everyone said, there is no direct cost to it, saying it's 100% bad or it's 100% good, either to stay or to leave. But I strongly agree to say that we need to choose a path and not stay on the path of selfishness. If we are professionals, because it hurts me or pains me a lot to know that most of these people were trained even in Nigeria, like you went through almost all of your school in Nigeria. And so when it's time for you to give back to the society, then it's jackpot time. I know it's not convenient, but of course that society that is not convenient trained you. Yes, they might have trained you in a hard way, but I bet that the resilience that we are taking to build another community, the method of training in this country or in Nigeria gave you that resilience, brought out that resilience in you. So I would advise that let's ensure that when we are moving, we're moving for the right reasons. I also travel a lot. I get to train a lot. But most of the time when people ask me, I know I've traveled some time, I tell them like, I can give you the way to really stay. I will teach you what to do. Why not stay? And I'm like, no. And they're like, so what are you going to do? You have every opportunity, every right. I say, yes, I understand, but my pain. And I think one of the speakers, is it Jade or Fumi, that said something about what exactly you're passionate about. I do call myself a passionate educator. Yes, I'm in the university system, but education is something I'm extremely passionate about. I want to see my students do well. I am proud to say that I've been able to train at least my university is having a new medical school, which are about a few years, not soon, a few years, like 6 going into 7. But I can say that we have been able to, we have undergraduates who are graduates now, who have PhDs, who are PhD candidates, master's candidates in the UK and in the US. And it's because we, their lecturers, have been trained and we have that network and we're able to give them something better. If we never came back when we went for one training or the other, those students would not have the opportunities that they have today. Those of them who are still in Nigeria still talk to us, still communicate with us, and they're also achieving one thing or the other. Some of them are already technologists or assistant lecturers or graduate assistants in some other universities right here in Nigeria, and they're also seeking to progress in their education. I think by the time we look at it beyond personal interest, and I would say that every of these things comes with their own consequences. We are talking about our children. For me, that tagline, to give your child the better education or give your child a better life. I am not saying that we cannot get a better life from the UK or the US or wherever, those children, but I also know that we also have things to struggle with when it comes to our culture, when it comes to our beliefs, when it comes to what we want to see in our children. And so those other countries also have their own disadvantages and what they bring to the table that you might not be able to go against. And then you also have to deal with those things. And like one of my professors who retired a year ago, or about 2 years ago, and I remember when he was giving his speech, he was in the US for about 30 years and then came back. And he was giving us the two scenarios and it gave us the consequences that he has to live with. And I think that all of those we should put into consideration and not just stick with, what we do most times is we compare the good parts of the UK and the US against the bad parts of Nigeria. Let us compare good against good, bad against bad, so that we have an objective view of everything, and then we can make very good choices from it. I think the government really also needs to do better. It is not until we have damages when almost everyone are best, because the truth is, it is our best heads that live first. It is our rich ones or the ones that are still comfortable that live first. The money to get a visa to the UK is no joke. The money to get a visa to the US is no joke. So it's not the poor that are living. So we're only having a full baggage of the very poor people, or majority of the very poor people being left in Nigeria, while those who can still struggle and do something are living. So I think the government should be proactive. Do not let us wait till things are really damaged before begin to now bring incentives and try to amend a little thing. Can we be proactive? Can we look at what we can do before we get to that place? Before we get to that place where we now begin to say, okay, the damage has been done, now what can we revert? No, I think the government should be proactive. I would like to end on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Itoke. Akintunde, please, can you be on standby? But before that, let's quickly take Abiodun Ajayi. He's the PRO of National Youth Council, to give his thoughts with regards to what the Youth Council is doing, about the challenges when we talk about brain drain generally in Nigeria. Hello, Abiodun, can you hear me?
Thank you very much, Dana. Thank you very much for well-coordinated event. So once again, my name is Abiodun, as directly introduced by Dana. Hope you can hear me, Dana.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you very much. So I'm Abiodun Ajayi, the PRO of the National Council of Nigeria. This is one of the recognized youth groups by the government in the country. We have a youth council in all the states in Nigeria, and then we have a national body recognized by the federal government. And we are the Lagos State chapter here. We are doing a lot as regards to brain drain. Particularly, let me also establish a fact here that issue of Japa syndrome has been in existence long before now. The only difference between then and now is the fact that the media has helped popularize the name than before. You know, in those days, when in your family, you hear that people are traveling to UK and their favorite country then was UK. In those days, so it is being popularized because a lot of people are going there, and then social media is also projecting this migration from countries to virtually other countries now, and it is a big issue for us as a country. And I remember I like to share a brief story of myself. My first opportunity of leaving Nigeria was in 2011. I was nominated to represent Nigeria at the 16th ICATA conference in Addis Ababa. So while I was leaving the country, my mother specifically called me and said, "Biodo, make sure you don't come back home. Just find a way of running maybe over to UK or any very good country close to Ethiopia at then." But I made a vow to myself, rather than leaving the country where it is today, why not come back and then contribute my own quota to the development of Nigeria? So this was a big, resolution for me. And when I started making some findings, and I discovered, and a lot of people told me then that even if you stay in Ethiopia and you start working with either United Nations or any global fund in Ethiopia, you may have opportunity of crossing over to any other European country that you desire. So, and I remember then, Emmanuel Essen, who is the former SA on the governor of Cross River State, was in Ethiopia, and he was my mentor. So I was even at that time, I may decide to say, okay, I just want to stay with you for a while, maybe I can just find my own dinner passion to other European countries. But I decided to come back home. Why? Because the responsibility of changing this country is not only in the hands of the government. We all must take responsibility. That is why virtually all of us on this call are development experts. We are contributing one quota or the other in building a new nation. So the syndrome has been there before now, and but it is only more popular in this situation. And I also want to share with us, do you know how many prayers that are ongoing in churches and in mosques with international passports and God, I want to leave this country? I was at that's so funny. I was at a program a few days ago and come and see prayer of God, I want to leave this country. So a lot of people are praying to leave this country. We'll get to the reason later. So it is the desire of many people. And then, like one of the speakers rightly said, people traveling or migrating from your country to another country. Yes, to me, I don't see it as an offense. I don't see it as a crime. So I just feel that everybody wanted a better life. Everybody wanted to build a life that would be a model to other people. In those days, when you travel to UK or you travel to America, and you come back home and you come back to your community, start bragging. Even before you left, you don't have that connected. But the moment you come back to the country and you have opportunity of visiting your hometown, you start speaking for them just because you wanted people to see you as a strong personality in your community. So it is a big issue. Everybody has reason for leaving this country. So it is a big issue. So that is that also. And another point I also want to raise, just I think it was
Mr. Jay, could you briefly, because we don't have so much time, so maybe you could just briefly round off, please.
I had Mr. Babatunde, I had him spoke when he was giving his presentation, and I want you to know it is about economic instability. To be honest with us, if everybody are praying in church and in mosque that God, I want to leave this country, the prayer was birthed out of there is no stability in the country. So therefore, if we have economic stability and good governance, in the country. You and I will be going to church to say that God, as you are developing our country, please keep developing. We will keep praying. God, I don't want to have any reason to leave this country. So prayer will be, there's going to be change in narrative in our prayers, in our request or ask to God that God, I want to be in this country to join every other people in building a new nation. People are praying to leave because yes, the economy is not friendly to everyone. So at the level of the youth council, we are doing a lot. We started, I was at the call to spearhead the migration project at the level of the youth council. As a matter of fact, the Minister of Youth and Social Development is partnering with us and has been designated to lead that thing by the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Youth and Social Development. So we are doing a lot in ensuring that, yes, if you want to travel, you can go there to empower yourself, but always have it at the back of your mind that this is your own land, this is your country. And if you refuse to build this country, the generations, the family you left behind, that you think you can protect with your resources in the country you are currently living, they will be affected too, because those resources will not be enough to cater for all of them at the same time. Thank you.
Right.
God bless.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ajayi. Now let me quickly move to Akintunde Babatunde. Hello, Akintunde. Are you still here with us?
I believe so.
Please put your camera on. I'd like to see your face, please.
Okay. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So my question is it a crime to want to japa, and what should we do to stop it?
You know what? I mean, I don't have a position on japa. I don't. I think people should review their realities. If you think at this stage in your life, living will give you an edge, leave. I mean, I think that we need to understand that people start to dream when they conquer Survivor. A lot of people in Nigeria are still at the level of Survivor. I mean, you get to see people. I think it would be really unfair and it would be elitist for people who are comfortable, who are able to afford the basic things, to then criminalize or say, oh no, people should not leave. I don't think so. I think that's not fair. You can't tell someone who's working hard. Nigerians are not lazy people. I think, someone who's gone to uni, who's working and gets paid 150,000 naira, for instance, let's even say net. That's barely enough to go around for an individual, not to talk of the family. So if you have an opportunity to go abroad and improve your life and that of your family, don't say no. Just make sure you know why you are going there. If you are established already and you think you're doing it for the kids, that's also okay. That's also okay. If my parents had jackpot in the past and they probably gave me an American passport, maybe I wouldn't have to be struggling with South African immigration. I'm serious here. I think those are things. I think it depends on where you are in your life and your career that will tell you what next you have to do. Right. I mean, personally, I've said it. I'm never going to leave Nigeria forever. I'm going to pack my load and say, Nigeria, I'm done with you. Never. That would never happen. No way, right? But can I leave for a while to do one or two things that improves my career? Sure, I'll gladly do that. I would leave because there is a need for me to leave. I keep telling people, people should leave if there is need for them to leave and they are clear about what is there, right? If you think at this stage in your life and career, living is best for you, please do that and leave. If you think, and I think we have to say this, people return to Nigeria. I returned, my master's to Nigeria, and that's okay. Some people didn't return, that's also okay. The most important thing is that at some point in our life, the quest to make money, to eat, or to feed, and to get a place to stay will no longer be popular. By the time you are over that stage, when you can afford what you want to eat, that's when you start thinking, and I think it was Jade who made that point and said, at that point, you now remember the community that you built at home. Now, for me, for instance, no matter how exposed I am, amala will never, eating amala in the buka will never go out of fashion. Like, no way. No way, it will never go out of fashion for me. And so an opportunity to go to an amala joint is not something that I can get anywhere else, because it will not be cooked by the firewood that we enjoy in Nigeria. So for me, and that place, you can only get that in Nigeria, the sense of community where people come together to say, oh no, we are enjoy your old friend. Now, when I want to reach my friends, we start asking, what does Saturday at 9 p.m. Nigerian time, 3 p.m. UK time, for us to connect with friends. People, I mean, even when you reach milestones, you don't get to celebrate with people again because everybody is scattered across the world, right? So I think people should review their realities. I mean, like I mentioned, I don't have a position on Japa. Okay. Whatever you think it is for you at this stage in your career and life, then so be it. But anything you want to do, please be calculated about it. Be clear about what is there for you and have a goal in sight, right? Have a goal in sight. If you have been able to survive all the economic challenges and yours is just because of the kids, that's okay. If yours is because you want to stabilize your career, that's okay. If yours is for retirement, that's okay. But whatever you do, give back to the country. I mean, Nigeria would benefit Nigeria benefit from the diaspora remittance. So there are ways we can always give back to the country. If you get an opportunity to travel and you still have, I know a lot of people whose exit is even better for the country because they get to make more money, send back home, and be able to establish even other things that helps the country to be better. I mean, as some of us now, we probably would not have this level of global influence if we had stayed back in Oyo, do whatever. So I think that at some point or the other, we have all benefited from the way. That was why I said I don't like the word Japa. It sounds like, oh, we are running away. Migration and going abroad for opportunities is okay. In fact, what it also does is that it tells you that, hey, there is life somewhere else. Sometimes we are local champions. People just do things at a mediocre level, and I call them successful bullshitters, right? Doing nothing but just gallivanting around. But when they travel and you see, I remember, this will be my last point, I was with some friends some time ago, we were talking about Christmas plans. It was last year, it was in London. And someone who's like, I think 24 years was saying, oh no, a Christmas plan is, to go to Europe, see more about 6-7 countries spread over Christmas holiday. And I was like, wow, interesting. That in my country, if you're ever leaving Nigeria for Ghana, then people would go to church and say congratulations, but you see people just move around, Europe just move. If you have a Schengen visa, you probably would just move around Europe, no pressure there. But, so I think that at some point people need the exposure. You need the exposure, you need access to see how things work. So that can also inspire you to do better, right? So, but I think it would be hypocritical to sit down in our comfort zone where we are able to afford the basic things of life and now say, oh, don't tapa. I think that's not fair on people who genuinely desire to grow, right? So if your reality stays that the next thing in your career is, oh, you need to pivot and do 1 or 2 things, that's okay. Trust me, people who live with the right documents and the right strategy, they don't go there to take the back seat. Trust me, they demystify the horse. We have, the guys who built the top tech tools today, they are able to do that because Nigeria is what it is. All the unicorn you see out of Nigeria today, they have American or foreign co-founders. So I think that you need to be strategic about your Japa plans. If you're a lecturer and you want to do some consequential work and you travel abroad for collaborative work, that makes sense. If you run an initiative that you just think that it's the best of things, if you get an opportunity to scale, that makes sense. Sometimes the grant we use to run stuff in Nigeria, it's funny, the grant we use to run stuff in Nigeria, they give us for 1 year. That is even less than the salary of a project officer in their own country. So sometimes we get the smallest of things and we run with it. If you travel abroad and you demystify what's in there and you penetrate the space, then you can speak from a vantage point. And that way, you give back to the country, and it's better for everyone and for you. That will be my last point. I have no position. Whatever you think Japa is for you, so be it, and all the best. Do well to say well. I'll be happy to grab a glass of wine with you or coffee, anywhere you are.
That was wonderful, Akintunde. Thank you so much for your thoughts on this. So Samuel, are you on standby? Let's quickly hear your thoughts about the way forward solution in the health sector. What should we do better to keep people back in Nigeria?
Yeah, I think Akintunde has said a lot, basically. Japa is a personal thing. If it fits you, if it's what you need at the stage of your life, then you can do that. I also want to...
Japa?
No, I actually I shuffle between countries, for personal development,
Okay.
So yes, and I want to stress that if you must migrate, it's very, very important we have these, that please do so legally. Do so legally, have the correct papers, have the correct visas, don't go visiting and then you japa. That is illegal. Okay. Solution way forward. I would just limit my own to basically the health sector because I'm a doctor. The first is that the government needs to value its workforce, okay, or our workforce. Now, if you don't value it, there are people out there, there are countries out there, the economy out there that we take or we steal or we grab your workforce. We have them, Saudi Arabia, the UK. Doctors keep, health workers keep, migrating to those because they value health workers. So the first thing I want to say is that the government must place premium on its health workforce. Now I'm speaking for the health workers. Now, of course, same applies to other sectors there. That's the first. Number two, where they are, you need to make life very comfortable for them, and that talks about their welfare. For health workers, they actually have one of the poorest welfare, in the whole country, despite the fact that they do so much to save lives, do several causes. I mean, we've had doctors recently that died as a result of exhaustion. Okay, so they need to take care of the welfare of the health workforce. Okay, another reason that has discouraged a lot of health workforce to leave is the issue of infrastructures and equipment. If you go to our hospitals today, if you go to our clinics, you will find that there are no equipment, there are no infrastructures. The things you need to work with, you know that you can save this life if you have this instrument, if you have this equipment, but they are not there. So we keep losing life. So the government also needs to be able to put in place infrastructures and equipment. Last but not least, for way forward, there is a need for us to also have, as Nigerians, as youth, to have a patriotic spirit. A patriotic spirit. Nobody is going to come to this country to fix this country. And like I said, Japa is not bad. You could go get the knowledge, get the skills, get the whatever you want to get, but please come back. For those that are back home or those that are staying back, there is a need for us to consciously take over the affairs of the nation. We can't sit back and allow some people, some politicians, take us down the drain. We saw in the last election that when youth come together to decide the future of the nation, so many things can happen. We saw that happen. We don't need to relent. We need to build more on that. We need to have more momentum to see that we take charge of our country and put in leaders that genuinely have the interest of the country at heart. You can't continue to vote this very, very egocentric and selfish leader. Let's be involved. Running is not the idea, it's not the best. Leaving our problems back home, who will solve it for us? Nobody. So we all need to stay back, we all need to fix it, elect good leaders, participate actively in the politics and shape our future. I think I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. Jay and Sophie, are you here? Are you still here with us? Hello, Sophie. Okay. Anytime, Sophie. Is she here? Okay, so Jane, yes, is she here?
Yes, she's here, but I don't know.
Could you put your video on, please? Okay, let's have your video on. Oops. I think she's struggling to unmute herself. Samuel, can you grant her access?
Okay, I think I can now. I
Okay.
was logged
Okay.
before. Thank you so much.
Okay, so briefly,
Yes,
wait,
so-
what do we need to do?
Okay, so the way forward again goes back from my own end. I'll look at it from the angle of patriotism. I'll look at it from the angle of empathy. Empathy, just like Babatunde said, not everybody is as privileged as we are. So even if we leave, some people need to do the work. Be realistic with yourself, your current circumstances, and decide what is best for you and do it. But while you are away, also remember there's nowhere like home. Peradventure you want to leave and come back, where are you coming back to if you do not take actions that concern home? Yes, if you have better opportunity leaving the country, please do well to leave, but also remember where you're coming from and support every other, how I put it now, initiative from home to help us get a better Nigeria. Because honestly, I keep saying not everybody can go. The cost of going is expensive. Even if we leave today, we still have cousins, we still have family members. Any news about Nigeria? Have you ever wondered why it is that we hear most bad news about Nigerians from those in the diaspora more than those of us that are here? I travel a lot. And most times when I just check in, they say, oh, I'm going up north, I'm going to Nasarawa, I'm going to Taraba. The next day say, oh, be safe. Oh, I heard this, I heard that. It shows how much Nigeria will always be home to many of these people. I think that we need to find our passion. For young people, find your passion, work towards it. So even if you want to leave the country, you are sure that you are getting a better opportunity and not just going and then you are reverting to something worse. So for now, I'll stop. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let me quickly go to Jade. Quickly, solutions. What do we need to do better going forward?
Okay. I think I have mentioned that before. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So,
I can hear you.
Nigeria just happened to me some few minutes ago. We took out the lights, so we had to. Okay, so quickly, the solution, I think everybody has mentioned that. One is government doing better for people and trying to, at least for basic needs, food, housing, clothes, at least for people just to be convenient. Two is we all have a part to play for every one of us, even if you have to be abroad. Try as much as possible to see how you can influence Nigeria positively. And it's not just financially, with your knowledge, the right skill, you could actually add value to people from wherever you are. Thank God for the world of social media. If there are information is key. I think the difference between the rich man and the poor man is what the rich man knows that the poor man does not know. So if you can add value to people from wherever you are, and let's see how we can make Nigeria great again. So I have renewed hope, just like the slogan of our president. And I think that we also need to let the poor breathe and let's stop suffocating them with the abroad syndrome. We can add value from wherever we are. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jade. Well, it's been very, very insightful and very, very inspiring. I've learned so much. I remember somebody asking me that, Zainab, what are you still doing in Nigeria? And I said, why? He's like, you have all the opportunities to move. Why do you always go and come back? And I said, well, I don't want to leave. There has to be a reason why I want to leave, either for professional reasons or, for educational opportunities. And the person was like, yeah, well, it's because you're Hausa people don't like to leave. They just like to go and come back. And I was like, well, I think that's your opinion, but I think it still comes down to individual differences and why you've made that decision to either want to leave or not. I think this brings me to the end of this session. From our audience, if you have any questions, comments, you can type that in the chat box or raise your hand so I can see you, and then you can shoot with your questions right this minute. If you have any questions, please drop it in the chat box or raise your digital hands. Let me see you. Questions, anyone? Comments? It seems we don't have any questions. Do we? Okay. Well, since we do not have any questions, I would take it that everything was clear, from the conversations that we had with our speakers, and also our participants are really following what's really going on, and they are very, very clear about that. And so this minute, I would just, in no particular order, I'm going to be starting with Sophie because she's right next to my video, and then just for her final thoughts, very, very, very briefly, and then she passes it on to the next person. So Sophie, let's start with you. Final thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I want to be sure who is next to me. Okay, so I'll call Dr. Itoke. Okay, yeah.
Right.
So for me, I'll just say that the Nigerian dream is real, and it needs all of us to be a part of it. If some people did not build the American dream, literally, that's like the UK and Canada dream, I'm not sure we all would go there, or we want to go and benefit from it. So posterity will judge us if we do not play our part. It's going to be very tough. Of course, we know that, because nothing good comes easy, but we need to be willing to take the work and make the difference that we want to see in Nigeria. I look forward to having more engagement with people who are ready to walk the walk, and I believe in Nigeria. Thank you. So I'll pass it to Dr. Itoke.
Okay, you have my words right in your mouth. Really, there would never be a place like home. And every time I travel, one of the things I say for my foreigner friends is, Nigeria, I know that I've heard the history that Nigeria used to be a place where foreigners always desired to live in. And I'm looking forward to that day again, that time. I hope I can live to see it, where everyone wants to come to Nigeria and live in Nigeria. But without all of us, that can never be a dream. It can never come to reality. So if we keep running and keep hoping that somebody else will do it, I think that we're just making a big mistake. Let us all find a way to contribute to making Nigeria that place that we all dream for. No one will do it for us. No America or the UK or the Canada will do it. Let us please join us together to make this country that place that we desire it to be. Thank you. I think I will be passing on. Am I permitted to pass it on to Samuel because he's next? So according to my view. So if I'm not permitted, am I?
Okay.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so on to you, dear.
So I guess we have the pass on challenge now. That's quite interesting. Okay. Like it has been said, the discourse is continuous. I mean, the Japa syndrome, it's a continuous discussion. We have to keep talking about it. We understand the time is so short. Just like every other person on this call, that there is no place like home. For some of us, we've gone through to different countries, different continents, Africa, Europe, North America. There is really no place like home. And like Akintunde said, there's no place I go to and I don't look for my amala, and my jollof rice, but one thing I have not seen so far, is my ewa going, I've seen agege bread, but I've not seen ewa going. Those things really we truly are blessed as a nation in Nigeria. And like Oritoke said, nobody's really going to fix our country for us. We need to, for even those that have traveled, have jackpot, and those that are still there, we need to come together to see how we can fix our country. There is so much that is there in that country that you will get to appreciate when you live, the freedom, the togetherness, the community value, the fact that you know your neighbor. You know, if you live abroad, you may not even know who your neighbor, next door neighbor is. That communal living is not there. But in our country, we have those values. All we just need to do is just to work together to identify our challenges and fix them. If we can fix them, I'm sure that the whole of the world, we want to come to Africa, we want to come to Nigeria, but the responsibility really lies with us. So yes, I also want to pass it on to my beautiful Fumi Ilori, my teacher. Over to you, Fumi.
Thank you. And my challenge is to everyone. And that challenge is, it starts with us. And we cannot continue to be the preachers and we're not doing the word. So the first word starts within our families. What are we doing with our children? I would ask parents, Nigerian parents, can your children, okay, so you're abroad, can your children recite your national anthem? Can your children speak your local language? Are you speaking it to them? And then you want the world to change. What are you doing with those children? Are you even giving them a book? And you might just be wondering, I'm not yet a parent. So you can be a parent to a neighbor. That child that is just beside your house, please, because this is my own advocacy, buy that child a book. Let that child, first of all, feel through you that they are value. When they know that, oh, if not for Auntie Zainab, I wouldn't have become this kind of person that I am. Then they begin to believe, not just in the country, but in the people of the country. So we can begin to take those tiny steps. And if you are here, whether here or there, just like what Dr. Samuel is doing, the philanthropic work, please go into a space and make a difference. It really doesn't matter. There are times when I feel like I'm done, I'm tired. It's going to be 10 years old, and what do I have to show for it? And the people saying for me, look, if these children will pass by you and say, oh, thank you, Auntie Fumi, for what you did. And what you did was 10 years ago, was 8 years ago, was 7 years ago, and would even be 2 years from now. So please, let's continue to do the bits that we can, improve on it, make the difference from your home. And I'm sure that Nigeria will be the beautiful place that we want it to be. Thank you.
Who are I passing it on to?
So who is that person that hasn't spoken? I would choose somebody in the audience, and that would be Prince Will. Prince Will Onyeka, are you there?
I don't think so. Is he?
Prince Will, are you there? Yeah, thank you. I'm passing to you.
Okay, I couldn't mute myself earlier. Okay, so I'm not part of. Okay, I think what's my role now? I'm asked to give my own thoughts on what has been spoken about.
Yeah, just give your thoughts.
Anyway, it's been a wonderful experience hearing from this wealth of speakers. For me as a young person, I'm always envious of people, saying, they're in Canada, they're in UK, they're in this, they're in that, and I'm like, okay, probably have to plan my own career path and saying how I can jackpot too. But having listened to all of you, I think I just have to kind of redefine my own purpose and say, okay, even if I desire to wanting to go, I shouldn't miss my roots. That's what I have to say.
Thank you so much, Prince Will. I think I'll do this now myself. Akintunde, let's hear your thoughts, please.
I think two things. First is that I like people to see any decision from a vantage point of advantage, and have a sense of abundance. When people are satisfied with the capacities they think they have, and they are sincere about what they think they can offer, then I think it will reduce desperation. it would normalize, it will reduce desperation, right? You can then, so you are then able to review your options and say, oh no, this is good for me, or this is not good for me, when you operate from that point. The second thing, and the last thing would be that I really don't, I think I will borrow from the words of the president. See, let the poor breathe. I think we should not suffocate people. And I'm serious, it sounds funny. I think Nigerians, even by being, we being Nigerian, is what we have done enough. Like, we have tried. I mean, come on, we have tried, you know. So I think I'll place the responsibility of making Nigeria better. I'll place it on the government. I really don't want to place it on anyone, because a country where what people spend to go to work and transport is more than their salary, then we are all just living on, you know, vibes and inshallah. It's not, I mean, being in Nigeria at this time, like right now, is that's okay. We have done well. Please, government should fix itself. Governments, you know, and government should also design, you know, processes to make Nigeria livable and attractive, right? I tell you what, a lot of people that I know abroad, they would give up everything if Nigeria is at least functioning at, I mean, just by 15%. Like, say, I mean, let's say 50% of how UK is or how US is. Most people would live like, see, that what is fancy? Winter is almost coming. Everybody is thinking, hey, what will I do? So I think if the government fix the country, right, and also get people to know that, you know what, if you return to Nigeria, you are not going to be worse off, then I think it makes sense. Those who are returned, they are people who are able to return from a place of, you know, abundance, right? Because it's not flex for people to get £10,000 just because they want to get the UK visa. I've seen a lot of stories, and so Nigerians, we have tried. I beg, make it and leave us, no suffocate us. Government should fix the country, you know, and by the time government show us that there is an interesting opportunity for us to thrive, then I'm sure that it will be attractive. A lot of us can speak all the English just because what you would eat in the morning is not the problem. I mean, you know, so sometimes it's just this elite disconnect. People just say all the interesting things but I mean, I remember, you know, before I got into, I studied all these, my, you know, global, whatever. I mean, I've been there, and I know how it's not flexed. So let's not, I mean, we can't be, you know, we can't just be from a place of comfort and then say whatever. The government should fix the country, and then we let them make it a better place, and then they will see changes, just like China did. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akintunde. It's been very, very delightful for me. And I know that our participants have enjoyed all of the conversations that we've had. I've learned so much, you know, about the brain drain syndrome, particularly learned so much about how it affects my sector as a journalist. And I would like to appreciate and thank our speakers. Funmi Ilori, thank you so much for coming to this summit. Jadeshola Lagoke, thank you so much for your time. Dr. Ritoke, it's been a pleasure. It was wonderful talking to you. Akintunde Babatunde, thank you for taking the time to speak to us. Olua Eniton Sophie, thank you for your beautiful conversation. Dr. Babatunde, I don't think he's here. And also our convener, Samuel, thank you for your thoughts. We've learned so much about how this affects the health sector, which is a very, very vital sector in our economy and as a people. And I look forward to having something like this in the future. It's been very exciting and wonderful learning so much about all of the people that have spoken here. And I look forward to connecting with all of you guys in the future. I'm going to hand this over to Cher for the closing remarks and vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Zainab, for moderating the panelist session. That was a beautiful one. I must say, a lot has been said, a lot to be learned, a lot to take home. My notepad is full. I will use this opportunity to give a recap on some of the few points we had today, just for our audience, for those that joined us late. You know, from the very onset, we were made to understand the problems we have on ground. You know, Jadesola mentioned the fact that about 30% of our safety officers are out there. Tunde Ajayi also mentioned the 40% attrition rate to the health sector. And these are problems that are increasing as we go by. But more importantly, our speakers made us to understand the possible solutions and what should be done. You know, Oritoke talked about making excellence show in what we do wherever we are, irrespective of your location. Just make sure you are excellent. Jadesola also mentioned the fact that we should add values wherever we find ourselves, and purpose fulfillment should be the key thing for us. Eniton Sophie made mention, or she emphasized the need to be passionate about what you do. And she said it will take you further than you think. Kintude Babatunde, I'm glad to really hear from you. You made us understand that Japa is not a word you like, but in my opinion, I think that may be your favorite word. But what I took on from what you've said is, it's not just Japa for you. I think there is a return loop in all of it, more like Japada. And also you made us know that we need to have a sense of abundance, whatever we do, wherever we are, either here or in diaspora. Let us have a sense of abundance. Dr. Samuel, in your talk with us, you emphasized the need for government to value its workforce. I think that is very important. More or less, this is just an abridged version of what I have taken note of. And I hope our audience also we have more to learn from or to take home. Thank you, each and every one of our speakers. We are grateful for you honoring our invitation. I really don't know most of you, but I'm glad to be in the same meeting as each and every one of you. I guess as time goes by, we'll be able to connect in the nearest future. Thank you so much. I don't know if there is one or two of our audience who may have a question or two, just for say 5-10 minutes before we wrap up, because we are having a philanthropic visit soon enough and we need to wrap up this summit. So is there anyone? I would like you to raise your hand and you will be acknowledged. One or two questions. I think we need to give room for that. Are there any questions? Questions, please. I will take it as our speakers did a very wonderful job and we are all satisfied with what has been said. Zainab gave more like the vote of thanks, I would say. So there will be no need to say much. However, from the Sound Alliance Foundation, we are grateful to each and everyone that made this event. We're grateful to the speakers. We're grateful to our audience. You've made this a success for each and every one of us. We have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of roles to play in our society. And I'm very much glad that those that spoke with us today are not just local champions. These are individuals that they've been out there. Some of them are currently out there. They've been back here. Some of them are in and out. And we can tell that they have the experience, they have the knowledge. I'm grateful for your presence. I'm grateful for you being able to sacrifice your time. We'll be having a philanthropic visit to Children's Center in Yaraba today to complete our 3-day event. Thank you so much. I will give room for our coordinator, Dr. Samuel, to close this summit. Dr. Samuel Okeride, are you with us?
Oh, yes,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
here. Yeah, so I didn't know I was still going to talk, but yeah, I'm here. Thank you so much. I think it's nice that I especially appreciate all our beautiful speakers. Thank you so much. Like I earlier said, I really appreciate your gesture for accepting the invitation to come speak. These are people in different parts of the world with different time zones, and they actually oblige our invitation to be here. I sincerely appreciate you, and we look forward to working with you guys for more greater things in the future. I want to say that the discourse, it's something that has come to stay. It may not be an annual event anymore. It may have to be where we get to bring people to talk on more topical issues that affect our country as our people and our country. And most importantly, we look at topical issues that affect youth and different aspects of our lives. So once again, I want to also thank our wonderful moderator, Dr. Sheye Onoyemi, for a wonderful moderation and also for summarizing all the points that we had, and to all our beautiful audience. Thank you so much for joining. I believe we have someone, some news paper people with us. I'm sure I saw somebody from News Telegraph, and then earlier on from Guardian. I really want to appreciate you all. Thank you so much. That's been a wonderful time, and thank you for making this summit a memorable one. God bless you all. Let's have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening ahead. Over to you, Dr. Noemi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Samuel Okeride. This will be the wrap up for this leadership summit. Leaders, I will end this on the note of one of the great messages we got from Funmi Ilori. In my opinion, I will paraphrase. She said, give a child a book. That is one of the most beautiful things I've heard today. My summary would be, let us give as much as we can to our society. And I'm sure our society will be better off in the very end. We all make up the government. We all have a role to play. See you soon. Thank you for being here. Have a nice day. Bye.
Okay, sorry, Dr. Noemi, Dr. Sheye. We have a lot of people that joined. Please, before we leave, can we all turn on our cameras? We're going to allow everybody to be able to turn on their cameras now. We need you to turn on your camera. Let me see. Please, just a minute. Let's have everyone that is in here, if you are still here. Okay. Please let's try and turn on our cameras if we can. If you are still here, let's do so now. Let's do so now. And then please, you can also unmute yourself to say hi. You can unmute yourself. Please feel free to unmute yourself, say hi. For those that I can see, Sophia Lawal. I can see Lillian Ochai. Thank you.
Hello.
Kemi Tuta. Thank you. Hi. Nice to meet you. Hi. Nice to see you, Sophie. Lillian, can we see your face? Demo. Please, if you can turn on your video, let's just take a quick photo. Thank you. Chomzi, nice to see you. Ochai, Lillian, from the Department of Community Health, looks nice to have you here. All right, I think people are camera shy, so okay, I can see Funmi. All right. Okay, Sophie, nice to see you. So can we have more people so that we can take a photograph? We should have done this, but a lot of people have left, but it's okay. So here we are. Just a minute. Hi, Lillian. Good to see your face. You can say hi to us. You can unmute yourself. The floor is
Hello,
open.
hi everyone. Hi.
Nice to see you. So Lillian is a resident doctor with Department of Community Health. Mr. Uwemedino, please can you unmute yourself? Nice to see you. I hope I didn't bother your name. Nice to see Chomzi. Please unmute yourself.
Got it right.
I got it right. All right, so we're going to take a final picture for those that are still here. Sophie, your video is not on. Sophia. All right, 1 to go. All right, we wish we did this when we had plenty of people, but it's okay. Jadi, okay, you're back. All right, so yeah, I think we have the final picture. Thank you so very much. Thank you, Sheye. Thank you, Zina. You guys see how Zina was just flowing. Very beautiful voice, and that's her job. She works with the BBC, so it's not unexpected. And thank you, Anita, my friend from way back. Thank you, Sophia, my Mandela Washington friend and fellow. Thank you, Chomzi. Chomzi is a member of the SCF. And thank you, Lillian. Really, really appreciate the fact that you're able to make this event today. Yeah, God bless you all. Let's have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful evening ahead. Okay. Shalom.
Bye.
All right. Dr. Sheye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
I wake up, I see you as you leave. I feel it, I see it as you leave. When we kiss, I went deep, but you're far. Treated me like I was a queen. What spell did it cast on me? Or was it a make-believe? You say, girl, never be afraid of ever loving me. The